From left. Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Indrajit, and I am currently part of Selstrat, and I am a AI researcher. And so my primary focus is on the NLP side. I work on textual data mostly. So I mean, apart from Selstrat, I work in Informatica as a senior software engineer. This is, I mean, kind of a very, for us, it's very interesting lab. We do a lot of, I mean, we have no foundation towards anything that we wanted to do. So that's what inspires me every day to come to this lab. So okay, let's start with this session. So today I'm going to talk about BERT and ALBERT. Okay, so recently with NLP we have a lot of advancements with different algorithms, and I think everyone heard about this algorithm BERT, right? Everybody. So if you are not, I mean, I'll just go through the quick structure of BERT, and I'll not delve into ALBERT for now. I mean, for today, but I will show you how, I mean, what is the difference between BERT and ALBERT, and what exactly fine tuning is, right? So it's all about model performance. So that's the reason these two algorithms came into picture. Even BERT also came on top of, we had LSTM and ELMO, right? So why LSTM and ELMO were not good enough for solving the problems with multiple sentences and word embeddings, right? So uh, to start with, right, this is not only the full form, okay? It's not only about the full form. So if you see that a bidirectional encoder representation from transformers, right? So each word is having some meaning, right? So if you understand bidirectional encoder representations from transformers, so all these four components are part of BERT, right? So Albert is just a light version on self-supervised learning language representation. So again, if I come to language representation or language model, so what is a language model in itself, right? So to understand how a language model is formed, so to know that, we'll go further with that. Okay, so what makes BERT different? So, so if you see here, including semi-supervised learning. So we actually, most of the models are trained on unsupervised learning models, right? So if it combines supervised and unsupervised. So in BERT, we have combined both supervised and unsupervised uh, training, basically. So it's called a pre-trained model. So in pre-trained model, most of the times we actually data scientists spend on training the model, right? This one takes 30 minutes only to train because it's already pre-trained. So with Q&A dataset, if somebody has to train a squad dataset with BERT, it will take 30 minutes. So that's what paper claims, and I think we also have done that. So we see that is the difference. So if you see here, right? So unlike these previous models, BERT is the first deeply bidirectional, unsupervised language representation, pre-trained using only a plain text corpus in this Wikipedia. So here, in this case, here it is Wikipedia. Now, deeply bidirectional. What is deeply bidirectional? So bidirectional. So if you see from RNN to LSTM, right? So it goes from left to right, and RNN goes from left to right. So LSTM, we have left to right and right to left, and you can concatenate them, but still there are some challenges which are not solved by BERT, by those algorithms. Sorry. So what are those challenges? I know what you're saying. No, I'm just, training time is large. Training time is large. Yes. And other thing is short, but long LSTM solve the problem of long short term memory. It solves, but the convergence is too high, right? So we cannot. If you see, it starts repeating. That's what challenge is LSTM. So
short text is okay, but as soon as text is longer, it starts forgetting and starts repeating words. Some of those it will be solved with attention, right?
So attention, that's the reason attention comes into picture. So attention is all you need. There's a paper, right? So that's the reason it comes into picture. But actually, there is with the LSTM and with RNN, we have that problem with convergence with a lot of the data, right? It actually, I mean, with LSTM, although it solved a little bit of problem with adding forget get, but still it could not solve when you have a lot of data feeding in, and it actually tend to focus in one particular I mean vector. So with RNN we actually get whatever from the encoder, we feed into the next layer. Okay, I can sit here or okay. So we'll go ahead with that. So to understand from the basics, right, what are word vectors or word embeddings, right? So just quickly, I mean, one page, I mean, I'll talk about this. So with one word embeddings, right, if you understand one hot vector, right? So we have a matrix where, let's say, a cat jumps upon over a tree or something, and we have a column and row. So you put one wherever they are matching, right? That is one hot encoding. But what is the problem with that? It's it is sparse. So and it consumes a lot of memory. So if I have 10,000 sentences or words, so it is going to consume that much of space in the memory. That was the problem with the word embedding. And sorry, with the one hot encoding, then word embedding actually solved a lot of problems, right? So it is just like a neural network. We train and we give weightage to the similar words. So the similar weightage are given which are more similar or closer to some of the words. So we form the vector space based on the similar words, and we give a weightage to those words based on that, right? So that is what word embedding is. But still, with those, we cannot solve the challenge of uh, contextual and non-contextual things, right? So these are the two things which are very important. I will come to that. So why actually BERT is very important apart from these. I mean, solving the one thing is the relation from the previous sentences. Another thing is the contextual and non-contextual thing, right? So goal is to build a general or pre-trained language representation model, and this model can be adapted to various NLP tasks easily. We don't have to retrain or retrain a model from scratch. So that's the primary purpose with BERT, because we have a pre-trained model. So what BERT author says is, for several years, people have been getting very good results pre-training deep neural networks as a language model, and then fine-tuning on some downstream NLP tasks, question answering or natural language inference and sentiment analysis. So this QA, NLI, and SK, right? These three are very kind of very useful tasks in NLP, and we actually rely on pre-trained data. So that's the reason this BERT author, they actually thought about some model which will already have pre-trained models, and you just plug into that and you train your own data set. So that will give you the results. That was the primary goal. So with bidirectional encoder representation of transformer, basically you see BERT is naturally bidirectional. It already have that capability also. Now we said deeply bidirectional. So there is a difference of bidirectional and deeply bidirectional. I'll come to that. So and it's generalizable. I mean, pre-trained BERT model can be fine-tuned easily for downstream NLP tasks. High performance fine-tuned BERT models beat state-of-the-art results from NLP tasks. So I'm basically now BERT and I mean BERT is way behind in that squad dataset. If you see in the what I'll say the rank, right? So BERT has the highest. ALBERT has the highest rank now because of its linearity and with the fine tuning, and universal. I mean, trained on Wikipedia and book corpus. So with the normal natural language models that I was talking about, CNN and RNN transformer and bidirectional transformer, right? So this is where it comes. So we have one thing on top of the normal CNN RNN where you used a left to right and right to left, right ordering. On top of that, we have a transformer model, and that transformer model is again bidirectional. I'll come to that structure architecture. Okay. So attention, right? So if you already, I think everyone knows about encoder decoder, but still I just took the architecture. So what happens with encoder decoder is um, whatever, I mean, from these, let's say normal RNN from left to right, right? Whatever we feed in, it's a complete. I mean, we do not actually combine the results from those layers, but we get a single output that we feed into the decoder. Let's say a sentence, he loved to swim, and I'm going to transform it. I mean, basically, uh, translate it to a different language. So I will use the complete value from one encoder to pass it to the another. I'm quickly going through this. Now, with the attention, what we do here is, so if you see an example, so with attention, let's say there is a sentence: the animal could not walk on the street because it was badly injured. So what is that is related to animal here, which is more close. You cannot say that street is more close or not is more close. You can say it is more close. I mean, which is more referring to animal. So I should be focusing on it than any other word in this sentence, right? Okay. So that is what is self attention is. So this solves the problem of normal encoder decoder architecture where we just feed in a single vector to to the decoder, right? So here we focus on a particular word instead of feeding in a particular vector value into the network. So to dig into that, so if you see here, what changes are made is the same sentence, but we combine all of them and we apply a softmax and we get that value and we it to the decoder, right? So this is more generalized in sense of focusing on a particular word. So it is more focused here, and that is being passed to the next layer. So you see the context here, the context vector, that is combination of the hidden layer. I mean, basically the hidden layer weights and the alpha. Alpha is the trained output that we get from this each layer. Okay. So to understand this, if you see H1, H2, and H3, these are the multiple layers in the network in encoder, let's say, and alpha is the um, weight of that particular layer, and we add it to a context vector. That complete thing is passed to the next layer, right? So that way, let's say a particular word is there, it has more weightage than other words. So that's the difference we make with the attention layer. Okay, any questions here? Yes.
Before attention came in, they were using directly with them. You just directly take all the text, like all the all the context vectors without any weight.
Without any weight. Yes. So that is a single input actually we give, right? So that's one of the differences. I mean, I already have discussed in previous lectures. I'm going fast because I have a lot of slides. So it, just to understand the transformer architecture with attention, right? So if you see here, encoder one, encoder two. So this is a normal transformer. It's not bidirectional. So normal transformer architecture looks like this, where let's say I have a self attention, on top of that add and normalize, and then you do a feed forward and then add and normalize. Okay, this is one encoder network. Again, another network with self attention, add and normalize, feed forward, add and normalize. So what do you understand about, so when we say add and normalize, right? So every layer once we have the weight train and we go to the next with the self attention, we normalize the weight, right? And then again move to the next. So this is one encoder. On top of that, another encoder. So unlike LSTM, we have right to left and left to right. In transformer, we have changed the complete architecture. We do not follow that same model where only left to right and right to left training is done. So once that is done, that is feed forward to my decoder. Okay. So decoder is again having self attention and to normalize encoder decoder and then normalize feed forward and by the software. So there is no much difference from these encoder decoder, but only thing is attention is the thing which has been added on top of these, okay, and the feed forward network. So any questions? Because I will go to bidirectional. So yes, I have to assume that because those are again another chapter. So language models are typically left to right or right to left, right? Bidirectionality is the thing. And however, most NLP tasks want the best contextual representation of each word, not just left to right or right to left, right? So contextual representation is more important. I'll come to that. So say in quick example, so in word to wake, we do not have any context, no context. So if you say river bank or bank river, doesn't bank is, I mean, it's the same actually, it doesn't make any difference with river bank and bank deposit. It doesn't have any relation, it doesn't have any context. But left to right context with RNN, I made a bank deposit, it is one-sided. So it is making a meaning from one-sided that I made a bank. But when you go for bidirectional, I made a bank deposit, I made I'm not sure if that is going to help. Okay, thanks. I think it's more laudable now. I'm not sure. For us, yeah. Okay, so with bidirectional, that is the thing. I mean, it's the meaning from the both sides. I mean, you get the meaning from both the sides. So I made a bank deposit and I made a bank deposit again. If you say so, it is not one-sided meaning that is we are deriving. So the context is everything. Another thing is context free. So there is no context, right? When we go for word to vec, there is no context. So now we need both. I mean, with BERT, that's what we are trying to achieve, that we combine both the things, context free and context, with context, both. So how the data set actually has been trained, that we are going to look quickly. If you don't remind me again, there's a pop-up. So language models are typically left to right and right to left. That's what I said. However, most NLP tasks want the best contextual representation of each word, not just left to right. So people have tried combination of left to right model and right to left model, shallow bidirectional with example Elmo, but BERT is actually naturally bidirectional, right? DNN model. Okay. So I am considering that people know about RNN, CNN, Elmo, LSTM. Okay. Anyways, if you do not know, also encoder decoder architecture is basically the base of all those models. Not RNN, but LSTM and bidirectional LSTM. So bidirectional transformer, right? So as you saw, normal transformer in this, I have the similar structure, right? Following encoder and encoder, encoder 2, I guess. Full is encoder. So encoder 1, this would be encoder 2 actually. Okay. So these way, I mean, we actually the same how we left to right we follow for LSTM, right? Here the transformer is built in such a way that we follow the same thing that we get from the left and carry to the right and right to left. So the transformer is something like you can consider an encoder. So in in transformer we have multiple layers again. So that is consisting of self attention and feed forward network.
You may have covered this. The meaning of the word transformer, you might have covered.
So actually it's a structure, it's an architecture.
Okay.
So there is nothing like related to word or something, but you can say like how we have encoder decoder. Similar to that, we have a combination of these layers, which is basically a transformer.
Okay, the specific architecture.
Yes, by this image only, whatever you see, that is what is transformer. I think that is fairly understandable. So, okay, so on top of that, the self attention is one thing that is very important. I did not take any slides for self attention quickly, but if you understand normally with self attention for any encoder decoder, right? With that example that I've shown with it, right? So that is the one word that has to given more weightage. So that's why that is what is self attention is. Here, let's say bank, right? I gave the context. So bank is given more attention. That's why I don't need to worry about left to right or right to left. I'm actually doing that using attention. So attention is given to that word which is more contextual to that particular sentence. Okay.
Self-attention is more of like how each word is related to another word.
Correct.
River bank or bank opposite. How river is related to bank.
So there is a relative relation and there is a direct relation. So with that again, attention is the multiple types. If you would like to know more, I would suggest go through that paper. Attention is all you need. Okay, so you will get to know more on the mathematical side as well. So, but models are again, there are so many different types of models that has been constructed. So if you see the pre-trained models are different. So with 12 layers, 768 hidden layers, 12 heads, and 110 million parameters, right? So the large and base with that multilingual cased and multilingual uncased. So if you see the parameters are different on which it has been trained. So how to train bidirectional model? So you cannot train bidirectional model like normal language models. So that is one of the big challenge with bidirectional STM. So what would be able to indirectly see itself through multiple layer connection to see use no novel unsupervised predictions. So you see here there is a sentence. What they do is they mask the sentence, right? So a sentence, let's say. Selstad is the AI lab. So I will mark or I will mask the lab as mask. And then in the second, so 80% of the data set will be masked. 10% would be same copy of the same, like say Selstad is the AI lab. And another 10% will be some random word. So the model is trained in such a way so it can predict that which are mostly relevant and which are not. So based on that, it actually gives you the output. So for example, this one you can see the man went to the store and he bought a gallon of milk. So store and gallon is masked with mask 1 and mask 2, something like this. So the data set has been created in such way. So 80% of the data set is masked like this. Okay. So this is task 1 for pre-training. Task 2 is next sentence prediction. So sentence A is the man went to the store. Sentence B is he bought a gallon of milk. So is next sentence is predictable or not? So level 1 is next sentence. So this way we actually created the data set. Okay. So if it is not, then you say not next sentence.
So what was mask? It was the most important word.
No, nothing to do with that. It's a data set. How you will train it? So you create the data set in such a way. Right, so like you say in Vision, we annotate it. The similar way we
what happens? 15% of words are masked.
Yes.
Even the data set is there, it is masked, and models try to predict. So they found that the learning is much faster.
Yes. That's the reason.
Correct.
And it
so
makes
first is for text generation. What is text generation? Next is sentence. So BERT can be used for multiple use cases.
Multiple use cases. So that's why I mean they made it such a way that you can have a lot of NLP problems solved using same algorithm.
Yeah.
So that's the reason it has been done like that. So using BERT has two stages: pre-training and fine-tuning. So in pre-training is fairly expensive, 4 days on 4 to 16 cloud reviews, but but is a one-time procedure, and for each language, current model are English only, but multilingual models also can be used. We are releasing a number of pre-trained models for the paper which were pre-trained at Google. So basically they claim this one, and most NLP researchers will never need to pre-train their own model from scratch. This is the pre-training model, and fine-tuning is, if you see, I mean, this is very important. So it's inexpensive, and all of the results in paper can be replicated in at most 1 hour on a single cloud GPU, or a few hours on GPU, starting from an exact same pre-trained model. So Squad, for example, can be trained in around 30 minutes on a single cloud GPU to achieve a dev F1 score of 91%. So if you see, BERT can fine-tune inexpensively for many NLP tasks like Blue. Squad only requires one additional output layer and minimal number of parameters. Okay, so this is on the fine-tuning side. So this is just an image of the same thing, pre-training and fine-tuning. Okay, so you see here there is a mask sentence and mask sentence B. So as I was showing before, the sentences were masked, right? So you you pass that sentence to the architecture, and with that you create a token one and with a separator, and that goes to the encoder and the transformer. Okay, so T and TM1 you see multiple transformers. So based on that, we create a okay. So yeah, so based on this image, what we have explained on the same state. So if you see squad data set, with that also we have a question and paragraph. Similar way, how the sentences are masked, we feed into a question and a paragraph to the network, and that will give you the output. Okay. Any questions so far on this? I hope it is little bit. I mean, who are new to BERT, it is a little bit understandable. I'm trying to make it more easier, but because I did not go very in depth in multiple things, I rarely do that, but I try to make it more simple.
The point is, those who know what is NLP, they might be able to grasp it. But there are people here who don't know anything on NLP.
No, I think very less people. I think there will be. I'm not sure. Anybody? Anybody who doesn't know NLP?
It's always a mixed crowd. That's okay. You continue. Every Saturday is a mixed crowd.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is the latest squad performance. I mean, I always every month it changes actually. And if you see Albert and D, basically DAP plus Verify, they use a lot of ensemble models, and which is the highest accuracy they got with that. But Albert is still is far better than, I mean, having an ensemble model. Ensemble models are more difficult to train and I mean basically create. So and with XLNet and Robata is also a very good. I mean, they shown a good performance with on top of BERT.
See, yesterday we were at Amazon AI conference. Amazon is claiming blazing text. Their NLP API is the best state. I mean, every company keeps doing that. So they launch a new version, they say this is state of the art. So there is a new thing called blazing text in town, and apparently they were deriding BERT.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So internally they will be using.
No, but that's based on word to vec.
Yeah.
Correct.
Word to vec. So it will not work.
Yeah.
They were saying it's better than BERT.
It will not work.
He was explaining so simple. I'm like.
So
we have gone far ahead now from word to vec.
see, we see word to vec and BERT. There is a huge, huge difference from word to vec, what we do and what we get from BERT. So there is, I don't think that can be possible.
Word to vec will not include all this context and all.
They were claiming, but this is still based on word to vec.
Yeah.
Because there are no Google employees over there.
So this is multivariant actually. We can solve a lot of problems. I mean, with word-to-vec, probably we can solve a lot of other things. But with word, probably we can focus on something which really doesn't need a context. So context-free things can be more focused with word-to-vec actually. So
Yeah, they don't need attention, I guess, because it is more of like whole input is given on.
Okay.
It is a Amazon Echo, right?
Okay. Oh.
So Amazon Echo.
Yeah, it does. It doesn't.
What whole input is being fed. They are not doing language generation.
Language understanding also needs attention. It needs attention.
It needs attention. Yes.
Like maybe with echo, not that much. Like maybe like one sentence is
One
connected to
simple
the next,
LSTM is fine.
not that much. Like not long term. You don't need long term.
Exactly.
Correct.
No, if a question is asked, they won't ask a paragraphic question. They would ask some 2 lines, 2 sentences. So LSTM will work in that.
So with any textual or language or speech, it's always important that you understand the context. So word embedding doesn't have a contextual extraction from the sentence. So if attention is there, I think that is far better than what you are trying to do. Whatever problem you are trying to solve with sentences is very important. But where you do not really care about the meaning, then I think probably what to hack would be yeah. But I think maybe 1% of the task in NLP which doesn't need contextual meaning. So again, another thing BERT author said is, but for us, the really amazing and unexpected result is that when we go from a big model, 12 transformer blocks, 768 hidden layers, and 110 million parameters, to really big model is 24 transformer blocks, 1024 hidden layers, and 340 million parameters. We get huge improvements even on every small data set. So small equals to less than 5,000 levels. So this is what they actually talk about. But BERT has more fine tuning than these BERT. So I'll just quickly, I have only 2 or 3 slides, but I wanted to actually cover this in more detail about BERT and support and the differences with BERT. So BERT examines the redundancy and it basically transformer-based neural network architecture, such as BERT and Robert and XLNet. These are all transformer-based. So all transformer-based rely on independent layers stacked on top of each other. So however, we observe that the network often learn to perform similar operations at various layers using different parameters of the network. So the parameters are changing, but there is no change in the architecture. The architecture and the way it has been built, it is same. So this possible redundancy is eliminated in BERT by parameter sharing across the layers. So this is one thing that you share the parameters across the different layers. So the transformer layers that we create, bidirectional transformer layers, across that you share the parameters. The same layer is applied to top of each other. So what is the difference? I mean, in Robot or BERT, we have stacked the layers of transformers on top of each other. In BERT, we actually share.
But also we have to stack the layers, na?
But what I'm saying. So with BERT, what we are doing is also stack, but we share the parameters between the layers. So saying this possible redundancy is eliminated BERT by parameters sharing across the layers, and the same layer is applied on top of each other. This approach slightly diminishes the accuracy, but the more compact size is well worth and so that is what they are claiming. But I see with Squad, it is far better in performance.
Architecture of BERT and Albert compared actually, where does it change? Not very clear. Where the
that's not very clear. So with we cannot find a diagrammatical difference. But you see the parameters, right? Those have been changed a lot. Like you see here, this is the thing. So they have changed this. That one thing is transformer blocks, number of blocks that should be there, and the hidden layers and the parameters. On top of that, they are sharing the parameters between layers, between the transformer layers. That has not been done.
When you say sharing the parameter, what does it mean? Like for each layer you have the weight. Anyway, it passes on.
Anyway, it passes.
Different weights. It passes on from one layer, one transformer. Output of one layer is correct.
But the weights are different, right?
Weights are different.
Here is saying we are sharing the weights itself. So
this is like on the first run, so it is layer by layer. Right? So the first run, the output of each layer, whatever the first layer weights and bias gets updated, this gets this gets added to the second layer. So that's what
actually with parameters. I really could not recall now, but there are 2 or 3 things which they actually share. I was trying to recall them, but it's there in the paper. They mention about those 3 things they actually share between the transformer layers, apart from the normal weights that we share. So the key to optimizing performance captured in the design of BERT is to allocate the model's capacity more efficiently. Input level embeddings like words and sub tokens, etc., need to run context independent representations. So this is one thing with the bank, right? I give an example. So same thing that has been achieved with the BERT. So this is what I mean. With the conclusion, I will say BERT is strong pre-trained language model that uses bidirectional transformers trained on 2 novel language modeling tasks. BERT may be fine-tuned to beat many SOTA results on various NLP tasks. And what didn't explain is on the BERT. Okay, BERT side I will try to take a more in-depth session. Later on the mathematical side, I wanted to go actually. I did not. That's why I did not take that part. So these are the sources. So I'll just quickly go through the code. Okay.
I think one session we required only to compare all different flavors of BERT itself.
Different flavors. Yes. So you see that cased and uncased, large and medium. I mean small actually. So those are again a lot of differences there.
Right.
So if we go through each and the applications and the code, it's a full session.
Robert, Albert.
Albert. So this is Robert. Albert is based on the case or uncased model.
Albert? No, that is applied for all the models. So Albert also having large, extra large, extra large, something like this. extra large. Yeah, X large, right? I don't know. Yeah.
like shirt size.
Yeah.
With BERT, there's no there's nothing like domain specific bias, right? Suppose that we had the problem with language models is suppose you train only on Neo's data set, maybe.
Yeah, so that's the reason they have this combination of data set, right? With masked and with a similar, they actually copy the same sentence and they create another sentence. Instead of masking, the same word will be copied. So that is 10%.
No, because it's trained on Wikipedia.
And
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
I mean, it will not give you accurate results. But definitely you have to make it as a closed domain
if your domain specific things are there, you train it, it will work better. Do the fine tuning. Yeah, it will do the fine tuning.
It is simple. How do you treat a MBBS doctor on a Google as a doctor?
Right.
It's like that. You get all the answers in Google also, you get answers in MBBS. But which do you rely on? That is the
क्या एग्जांपल दिया है?
no?
क्या एग्जांपल दिया है?
So on Google, anything you search cancer.
Go for alternate medicine.
We do not need.
Go for alternate medicine.
One thing
The embeddings that are like the vectors that are generated by just BERT before any fine tuning, they themselves contain a lot of information.
Yeah. So I think pre-training, if someone has to do their own training, that will be a huge task. So much of resources required. So,
They have whole Wikipedia.
7 hours.
Yes.
Yeah, they have they are the builders of TPUs, right?
Yeah. So they can have any number of TPUs to run the BERT.
The cost matters.
We cannot.
2-3 days on 4-5 CPUs means
You fix it for it.
So in the code, mostly, I mean, how you see is as an architecture with the embedding layer. On top of that encoder decoder, on top of that we have a transformer, and in between that we have attention. So that's what we apply. Okay? So the functions are created based on that. So if you see here, I'm not going to each of these, but this is a open source code, so you can get from BERT paper the code.
so BERT is only used for encoding, right?
No.
Like I'm asking, not used. I'm saying like BERT gives you the encoded.
No. See, BERT is not an embedding vector. So that is Elmo and Love. Love and Elmo gives embedding. BERT is like multitask in NLP. So BERT can do
See, the pre-trained models are combined of those things, which you don't need to care about. You don't need that.
It is like you
It's
have
pre-trained. It's a language model basically.
Yeah, yes.
Pre-trained language model.
one part is it has its own embedding.
Yeah.
It doesn't use Elmo or Glove for
Yeah,
embedding.
it has its own embedding.
embedding
Yeah,
internally. Another part is it's like the model which is trained for multiple use case.
Yeah.
So you can use for classification, generation, like language generation, anything.
So suppose you have a 50,000 Amazon reviews, and you want to do maybe a sentiment analysis or something on that. Okay, you can. You don't need like maybe if you for better performance previously you need like review of maybe 6 lakh or 10 lakh reviews or 40 lakh reviews. Now you can use the BERT and get the better result with this 50,000 reviews itself, right?
So, I mean, apart from these embedding, right? I will say there is dropout, there is a dense layer, there are multiple dense layer has been involved in this code, and they have second or third layers. And with that, they have dot product attention. So the dot product is basically applied with multiple attention values that we get on that, and how does it apply? We see here, right? So this is the dot product attention. So and on top of that, we have a dropout rate of 0.0, and just like not minimal. So this thing here, so we multiply and we use that full, right? So this is the parameter. The transfer flow, this has been completely achieved. So I would say, I mean, there's no point of explaining this, but you can go through the code from the paper. So this is exactly mentioned what exactly each parameter is. It has defined already in the code, well explained. So, but apart from that, I mean, there are few things that you need to take care is about the layers that you want to change. You probably as it is a pre-trained model, and we do not basically do much things except the fine tuning. Okay, so these things you can take care. And in the ALBERT page, we have a lot of samples given for these improvements. So that also we can actually get from the ALBERT.
So the only change in Albert you mentioned is the parameter sharing across transformers.
Yeah.
Yes,
That is the only change you
that
made.
is the only change. But that is that reduces the performance. That's what we are saying. But that improves. Sorry, the performance is improved, but accuracy has been decreased. That's what they are saying. But we see accuracy is good in our data set with Albert. And that's what we use in our QA system, right? So
Reduction in accuracy is not as much compared to the improvement in performance. So
yes,
that's the trade-off.
yes.
Your QoS was BERT with squad.
But
What is data set?
What is the latest?
yeah.
But you were using BERT based.
Yeah.
So Yeah, that's all. I mean, I just anybody can go to this data set and check about it. But in this page,
You have the demo on QoS,
yeah,
which you have shown in the showcase.
yeah. So if you see this page, right, they have this is the leaderboard, right, by November 6, 2019, and the top performers are here. You can see. So BERT has been almost in March 20 past, and Roberta was there after that. But Excellent is doing very good.
Yeah.
But I never explored Excellent.
Excellent is very tough to
Yeah,
train.
exactly. Because
You need multiple GPUs, so unless you have that,
yes.
I've not seen any POCs etc. done on Excel. It's very difficult.
Yeah, I was thinking to explore.
I don't know the architecture. Bias to work.
And it takes days to train on Excel.
Yeah, exactly.
But and all you can train.
I'm not sure I have 15 GPU on this. If I can try it. Okay, so you can see this one. Another thing is exploring the data set. If you go to this page, so there are multiple different models. They have explained which are actually taken on consideration. So in BIDEF and self-attention, I mean, BIDEF I was talking on the last webinar. Okay, so that is also another a very efficient model for Q&A, for question answering system.
Yeah.
So BIDEF also claims to do very well with Q&A system. We can actually explore on that. And BERT is a single model, Google data language. So these are all developed by different. These are modified by Stanford. This is by Google, and this is by Microsoft, right? Internet.
What about Albert? Albert is from
Google.
Oh,
What is
Google.
Google? So Ultra likes BERT.
Okay. I like question.
Okay. So any questions? I'm not going to. I have that project that is running, but I think I already showed a lot of times the Q&A system.
No, that's okay. You can show. It's always good example.
Okay. So
You have the code, right?
I have it right.
You have it.
No, web front end.
Oh, Weapon.
No, I'm just starting. Okay. Starting on class. Okay. QA system. But the one which we modified.
No, it's not in Salsa also. Okay, it's not on Salsa yet.
No, it was web. You had local web, right?
I have a local web. Yes.
You can show that. Not the self. It's not there yet. But you can show the local one. Local one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I can show it. So this is a model. So the one which we are passing in the BERT as a question and the paragraph. If you pass it here, it will give you answer, right?
Yeah.
So and from here also we can take an example. So let's say
He went to the store. He went to the store.
Yeah, we can take that. I mean anything, but we need a paragraph for that. So that is an example. That is for sentence A and sentence B given. Predict the next sentence. That is one side. Another one is what? So
That is
what
sentence
is
prediction.
yeah, sentence prediction. Another one is question answer model where you feed a question and a paragraph, and based on that question from the paragraph you extract the exact answer. Right? So that's what we do. Let's say I take this.
So you can take review of Double Three movie.
Yeah, that's good. Oh, is it? I thought I will take it. I mean, easily from here. I mean, I can take that also. So if I say it here, I mean, it gives the
Okay, fair enough.
example.
Sure.
So I copy paste the same thing.
And ask someone.
Yeah, no, if I copy it.
Geology.
Yeah.
Paradox.
So here the question is igneous rock is a rock that crystallizes from what, right? So prediction is belt. So let's see what my system gives.
This and all is given.
How much time?
Man, did you give the right answer?
Show on real time, man. Show some Wikipedia article.
What you were saying?
The one three.
Movie review. And the question is Salman Khan losing his mojo?
No?
This is
So I will take this round 3 story.
Suitable content.
no take only the
Yeah,
It's so much bigger. It'll take a long time. Okay.
so let's put that. I can ask.
What question? Who's Chulbul Pan? Ask. It is there, I guess. Who's the hero?
Salman's performance.
What is the spelling?
how good is the movie?
That's a good question. I'll ask it.
Pandey.
You might not have an answer in that sentence actually.
Yeah,
It might be. That's it. Or at least it will say where exactly the answer may lie. Some context. Hey, you gave a very big paragraph.
my laptop is getting
Heated, huh?
Police officer. Oh. Police officer.
something like so that's all.
Don't want to take any more risk.
Very big review.
Okay.
Okay, any questions?
Stop the
No, just a moment.